Hello, I'm Gill at engVid, and today we have a lesson on geometry, geometrical shapes, and we have some of them, the main ones, on the board here. You may already have seen another lesson that I did, which was about shapes and patterns, and the shapes in that one, some of them are also in this lesson, but this lesson is more about geometry. So let me write it here, geometry, which you may have studied at school, possibly. I remember I did many years ago and found it quite interesting. These are geometrical shapes, and I just wanted to test you to begin with to see if you know the English words for each shape and some of the different things, like what you call this, these things that you're seeing here. So, okay, well, let's start with an easy one. This one here, which has 4 equal sides, and it's a very straight shape. So you probably know the name of this, beginning with S. So this one is a square, and it's a square if all 4 sides are equal, and if this is straight and not sort of leaning over, like this one is sort of leaning over, but this is absolutely straight. So that's a square. Okay. And then this, what I mean about it not leaning over is because it has this, which is called an angle. The angle it's straight up and straight across, so that is actually a 90-degree angle. So 90 degrees. Okay, because it's absolutely straight. That's also called a right angle. Okay, so this is a right angle and it's 90 degrees. Okay, so that's also partly what makes it a square. Okay, so if that's a 90-degree angle, a right angle, this angle here is obviously a lot less. And there's a general word to describe that kind of angle. I don't know if you know it. It's a word that means sharp, something sharp, because it's so pointed. Don't know if you can think of it. It begins with an A. So a something angle, a acute angle. So that's an acute angle because it's very sharp and pointed. Okay, and then we have the opposite here. This is a much wider angle. It's more than this one. It's more than a right angle, so it's more than 90 degrees. So that's the opposite of an acute angle. So it begins with an O. I don't know if you can think of it. It's an obtuse angle because it's more than 90 degrees. Okay, right, so there we have a square and we have some different angles, a right angle, an acute angle and an obtuse angle. So just moving on, this looks like a square but it's wider. It has those two sides are the same, and these two are the same, but these sides are much longer, and these are shorter. So you can't really call that a square. So what would you call that if it's not a square? Can you think of a word? So it begins with an R. Okay, it's a rectangle. A rectangle. Okay. So if that's a rectangle, this also looks like a rectangle, but it's leaning over. So that also has a very particular name. And I've drawn these two lines here because they're absolutely straight with each other. They're the equal distance apart. So I don't know if you know the word that describes that, when two lines are the same distance apart all the way along. So it begins with a P, okay, and they are parallel lines. So those are parallel lines, and because these lines here are parallel with each other, those two are parallel, and those two are parallel, it's called a parallelogram. A parallelogram. Okay. So, moving on, we have this one here. So instead of 4 sides, we have 3 sides for this one. So that's a clue to how the word that you use to describe it. So there's another word meaning 3. If you have a bicycle has 2 wheels, a tricycle has 3 wheels. So tri means 3. Tri. And then just like here, we have a word angle at the end of the word. So this also, triangle, a triangle. Okay, so it has 3 angles. These are the angles. 1, 2, 3, and 3 sides, of course, as well. Okay, good. So, hope you're still with me so far. So now we have all these round shapes. So that's one word you can use to describe them. They are round, but the geometrical is the adjective. Geometrical. The geometrical word for this is beginning with C. Circle. I've tried to make it a perfect circle. I'm not very good at drawing circles, but I've done my best. And then I've done this one here to explain a little bit more about the degrees. Okay, because the full circle, I don't know why, but a full circle is 360 degrees. That's just the way it's measured. I think it goes back to centuries, back to Pythagoras, the Greek person who developed geometry as a subject. So a whole circle is made up of 360 degrees. So you can sort of count around it all these little degrees all the way round, and it adds up to 360. So half of that, if you're thinking of half of a circle, that will be 180 degrees, okay? And then half of that will be 90, okay? That's why this right angle here is 90 degrees. You might have thought earlier, why 90? What, 90? That's a strange number. But it's because it's a quarter of 360. So that's why that's 90 degrees, a right angle, because the full circle, the largest number of degrees you can get is 360. Okay, that's why. So if you cut a circle in half, how would you describe that? Half of a circle. So that would be, another word meaning half is semicircle. Okay, so that one there is a semicircle, and that one is two semicircles. Okay, and then here's another circle with a line here. So that goes from the centre in a straight line to the edge of the circle. And if you had to measure it, sometimes you would have to measure something like that. What you call it is, do you know the name beginning with R? That's the radius. So the radius of the circle, and you can say what the length of it is depending on the size. Okay. Oh yes, and the other thing about this one, if you draw a straight line right across the middle, there is also a name for that. It's not just half with the radius, it's the full across at the widest points. So that begins with a D. Can you think of the word for that? The word meaning two, which is diameter. So that's the diameter of the circle. This is the radius of the circle. And then here's another circle with, I want to measure the whole, well, all of it, not just to there. I want to measure the whole, well, this one, the full measurement all around the outside of the circle. So that's another name which begins with a C. If you know that one, it begins like the word circle, circumference. Circum means around, and then that's what it means, the measurement around the outside of the circle. So the circumference of the circle, which is another measurement that you can do, because that's the point of geometry, really, to measure things in the real world. Okay, it's not just for drawing pictures on the board. It has a practical application in architecture and things like that. Okay, so that's the circle. Then we have, like we had in the other lesson with the shapes, we've got a kind of squashed circle. So in the other lesson, I said you can call it an oval, which is a word that means like an egg, the shape of an egg. But in geometry, it has a more technical sounding name, which is an ellipse, and the adjective from that is elliptical. Okay. Right, and then finally, what about some shapes which are more than 3 sides and they're more than 4 sides? So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that has 5 sides. So, can you think of what you would call a shape with 5 sides? There is a Greek word meaning 5, if that helps at all. So it begins with a P, pen, T, gon. Okay, so that's known as a pentagon, meaning it has 5 sides or 5 angles. 5 sides, but also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. So a pentagon. So if it was 6 sides, it would be a hexagon. And then it goes on 7, 8, 9, etc. 8, octagon. And all of these with the extra, many sides. The general name for that, meaning many sides or many angles, is a polygon. Poly means many. So if you don't sort of say it has 5, 6, 7, 8 sides, you can just say, well, it has a lot of sides, and you can just generally say a polygon. So that's the lesson. I hope that's been useful to give you the English names for all of these geometrical shapes. And there is a quiz on this lesson if you'd like to go to engVid.com and do the quiz based on your knowledge and see how you do. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching and hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye for now. Bye.